potentially see a lot of teams sending it in towards the center rather than what we've seen so far in the tournament. A lot of edge-heavy play, especially on Miramar. That's very, very edge-heavy. And obviously because also how this circle ended up being. Morph in Yasnaya.
And I mean, for the last game, Morph, what a performance, right? And we're talking about it, and we're saying how that was a team that went from 0 points to hero points, being able to collect those 20, I think it was 22 points for them. That's what you want to see out of the Indonesian teams. I'm pretty sure a lot of people right now on YouTube are going to be doing Indo Pride. And next week, I mean, on the after-party event, they're going to be also having Bigatron. So if more can actually make it there, I want to see that. I want to see those giants just battle each other.
Virtual Gaming Squad also fighting right now. Let's see how that's going to turn out as well. If it's just going to be one. Seoul did lose one player, Omega. And now the other guys from Team Seoul are leaving.
There's a lot of teams right now trying to scout, trying to figure out where they're going to be going. You can see Star Wars Esports finally starting to move a little bit. I think they're going to make sure that their bridge is going to be clear and they're going to be able to make a move for it. Right now, the amount of loot they're going to be able to get is going to be amazing. And I think this is great for them. Nobody bothers them at the start, right? And it looks like they're just going to have a clear path. If for some reason it does go to the main island, they're going to have a clear path. And I feel like this is why they're currently being able to be consistent. And I mean, Star Wars Esports, this was a team that, by a lot of people, they think that they are going to be the winners of this event. So I'm interested to see if that consistency, even though they don't have a chicken dinner yet, if that consistency is going to continue.
That is like 3 games back to back to back third. That is very impressive considering the format, how the teams are playing, the difference in teams. You're not playing a bit against your usual regional teams. You're not playing against teams that you usually know. So that is that's pretty impressive. And I think, especially the guys on the desk, they talk so much about Stalwart and how their expectations is high. Let's hope that Max is not here to curse them, but rather bless them together with Kylaris.
And one of the teams we were talking about earlier, Nigma, Galaxy. I mean, right now, middle of Pachinki, with this circle, you're in a way you're kind of blessed. Just take your time, see what's going to happen. Nobody, more than likely, nobody's really going to be trying to push you. But you can see, you were talking about Potato Hill. Guess what? There's a lot of teams going there right now.
There is. It's a lot of good information to be taken from the high ground there, but also you can't be... Some teams can be sneaking up, and right now Seoul, they are pulling up here by the shacks, and Damwon Kia is lurking in the back, and they're already throwing some of the utility that way here. Vivian and Mates coming in, and then Seoul hears it. Goblin's the only one that's currently left in the back for it. Let's see if that's going to continue, if he's going to stay kind of an anchor, or at least just make sure that his teammates is going to get away safely, and then he can leave as the last guy, or if they're going to contest Damwon Kia here on the high ground.
I think they were just scouting. Those 2 players on the card were trying to figure out, you know what, are we going to be able to use that advantage with Goblin being able to just kind of keep them focused there? It didn't happen. They decided to go back. Overall, Team Seoul not being too aggressive, making sure they know where they want to go, and that's what you want to see at this stage.
Especially here, once we see the second circle pop, then they can decide, are we going to fight for it? Are we going to leave? Are we going to have to make a big rotation? And soon, 7, we are going to see the next circle here. And this is a big decider. We're going to see if the teams are going to have to stay or if they're going to be moving. A lot of teams still moving in. They're basically on the edge or just outside the circle. And then they're going to have to either continue for a very long time if it's a hot shift against them, or if it's going to be a center circle. Right now, most of the teams would love a center shift.
Yeah, and with TJB, I mean, you see TJB now starting to move down to the south. They're like, okay, you know what? We have plenty of time to loot up. Let's actually move along. And something that I joined there from Star Wars Esports, they were just waiting patiently. They made sure that they sent only 1 player across that bridge to make sure nobody was waiting for them. And they were like, okay, it's clear. You know what? Just come our way. More than likely, it's not going to go to military base, even though, never mind.
You summoned it.
I'll take it. I was saying I wanted to bring out my toxic trait of it being in the middle. I mean, it's looking promising right now.
Yeah, it's also hard because the amount of water that is in play right now is making the vast majority of the center of the circle not playable unless you want to be in the water. But we're going to see a lot of teams come to this southern hill of the Pachinki. There's a big dip. There's some good trees to be played, but mainly 2 compounds. The pack compound and the double barn compound are going to be the main ones that are going to be fought for, and obviously some of the compounds west of farm. Let's see how some of the teams are deciding to do here.
One of the teams I'm currently looking at is Vampire Esports. I mean, they're just taking way too long with time right there for me. What I would like to see, and you can see back-to-back, Kill Switch, one of the main players actually getting eliminated. Oh man, that's gonna hurt them big time. And this is, I gotta bring up my NA trait now. I was hoping back-to-back would have good performances here. So far, after 3 matches, they had 7 points, not what you expect to see out of that team.
Oh, that's unfortunate for them. Hopefully they're able to step it up and especially learn towards. Now that you're casting them, maybe they're stepping up. No, Raken's still taking some shots towards Stalwart. Pika goes out. It's going to be going down as well. That's 1 elimination saved for Raken's again. Good performance for them. 2.
And then you have to J-Away just passing by.
No!
Oh, no. J7, please, keep going.
Go away. No! That is so unfortunate. And a strong defense here for Raken's. Really good performance with them so far. They're sitting in a decent compound if it goes north-northeast, but they are not the most centered team right now. But they're going to be fine. They got some of the elimination points they wanted, and now they're able to secure this. Morph have heard that in the distance.
And the good thing there with Reagan's Gaming is, I mean, they were able to take full advantage of that. A lot of those teams weren't really expecting them to be there, and guess what? You end up being able to get 4 elims. That's not bad. At this point, that's not bad. You didn't lose a single player. You didn't have to heal. You didn't have to lose any utility. That's maybe one of the best stuff that you can expect out of a team.
Such a good start for them here, considering still have 17 teams remaining, 63 total players. And the Wildcats, they are guarding the bridge. And this could be really interesting, because if we see a Southern shift, worst case scenario, or for your toxic trade, what you hope for, then it's going to be a huge game for them. They could either get past fast, or they could be gatekeeping everyone that's going to be trying to go across on the Western Bridge.
And as we're seeing all of that, I'm also looking now back-to-back Polo. He's staying right there, very, very close to the water to see if he was going to maybe have to rotate to the military base, because he's by himself now. That's going to be a very hard rotation, so it's interesting to see that. And then TJB, we saw that north to south rotation. Right now, they're not really having to worry about much. As I say that, Lin gets knocked.
Oh.
I'm just caster cursing this.
Yeah, it's just basically live caster cursing them, or it could be some of the other amazing casters that we have here in the arena. Obviously, so many languages is covering these amazing games, and we're gonna be seeing the next circle pop just shortly. And then
madness.
You're hoping for chaos.
Yes.
For anarchy. And that would be the Southern shift. Let's see if it happens.
I kind of wanted to go to military base now. I know earlier I said, and as I said that, it decides to stay just on the main island. Okay, well, we'll take that. We'll take that.
That's fine. And it's also pretty damn good for the majority of the teams, because it is kind of center in the northern side. So the vast majority of the teams, they are already in a damn good spot. Soul, one of them, 4 rivals, also sitting pretty good. And as we're talking about Enigma Galaxy, they need to have a good game now. They need to have this ball starting to roll for them. Otherwise, they're going to have a really rough day 1, and it's going to be hard to catch up.
Yeah, with Enigma Galaxy, I mean, we're talking earlier about how they were in Pubg, how they had everything going for them. And right now, I'm not able to even spot them. They're nowhere near to be found there. 4 rivals has actually taken over Pubg, which is a great, great spot. And look at them. They're going to be able to catch people. If they're rotating, they're going to be able to cause some damage and at least back them up.
Let's see what Donuts is going to be able to get out of this one here. They're also sitting pretty in this situation. Obviously on the northern side of it, but still they are holding on to quite a lot of real estate in this situation.
And if we do end up getting, for some reason, the circle just to end up a little bit towards the east-north, right, of Pubg, where we have all those fields, I hope all these teams are just currently saving those utilities.
What I love the most about Donuts' position right there is that they're able to become the last team to leave the barns and then run up onto the hill and then basically clear the whole Pubg east side hill. But Vampire is on the move. Let's see what they're able to do. They have Vivo Keat Stars in the distance. Let's see what the Brazilian guys are able to do. Obviously had the pressure of covering the PMWI Brazil, so I know what these guys are capable of, and they are huge fraggers.
Would you say Vivo Keat is your favorite team to win this?
Not favorite team to win it, but I definitely root a little bit for them, because I know these guys are really, really good. But Adrian's going to be taken down, and I basically just counter what I just said. Unfortunately for Adrian.
We're talking about caster cursing. We're seeing it here live, ladies and gentlemen. It is happening. Vivo Keat, after they watch that, they're just going to be absolutely hating us. But for Vampire Esports, they took their time. They waited to make sure they were going to get a clear shot. They actually had 3 players aiming down, and they were able to make sure they got that knock and finish that elim, which is it's something you want to see, because if we go back, Viper Esports on the first aerial, they were stealing a lot of elims.
Yeah, they were. They had only a few knockdowns, but secured a lot of eliminations and a lot of points through the steals there. Cielo is going to be moving towards Ravenclaw. And they're going to be having a rotation through the fields, try to maybe sneak in, get in under the skin of them, and maybe take a fight to them. Let's see what happens. He's just getting hit from every single side, and Ravenclaw is going to be able to take down Cielo and confirm the elimination here.
Yeah, that's just unlucky for Cielo. You can see the tire got popped, and then all of a sudden he just didn't know what to do. He tried to just switch seats. Maybe he could just snap on somebody. It was not going to happen. Vampire Esports right now is looking good. It might not be the 24 elims, right? But something might be happening for them.
Yeah, and the next circle here did shift slightly north, but still it maintained the vast majority of the land in play right now. So we're going to see a lot of teams fight for this next terrain coming up forward. TJB most likely going to be able to get the revive off here. Kist in a good situation. We see VGS as well. Virtual Gaming Squad fighting the Wildcats. Let's see what they're able to do right now. Ooh, utility being used.
Playing it slow. He's going to be able to be found. He is getting knocked. Where's his other teams trying to get the flank, and they're going to be able to. Can they knock him? He's still staying alive somehow. Avenger.
That is wild. Virtual Gaming Squad with a lot of pressure on from the side as well. Boron, half HP, one more. No, he gets countered. Oh my god. That is insane. Super well played by the Wildcats here. We can hear our Turkish colleagues going absolutely crazy next to us. And one shot is down to a 1 versus 1 right now with Boron. Let's see who's going to be able to take it home for them.
Wildcats. I mean, Boron, with that kind of angle, that saved their team. You could see what Virtual Gaming Squad was doing. They were trying to get different angles. They were trying to rotate around them. But Boron said, you know what? I can actually see you. Doesn't matter what you're trying to do. It's not going to work. And he ended up working out wonders for them. Hopefully, he can pick up his squad right now and secure those elimination points.
Oh, he's actually going to go off. The blue
nope.
zone is pushing them. Nope. Boron's going to try to maybe secure the points. The zone is coming in. Gadavi taking some shots, but no. And this means Wildcat's going to lose a few players. Boron is going to try to get into a situation where he can play as a solo, but it's going to be hard. A lot of the terrain ahead of him here, 7 is taken already.
And with Virtual Gaming Squad, I mean, they do decide to wait and actually revive those players. I wonder if that's going to hurt them long term. We'll see what happens with them. And we do have Team Falcons here going up against Morph. The winners of the last game. Can Morph continue on this trend? Team Falcons, I mean, a surprising start out of that team too. They ended up in 2nd place in Miramar. Was not expecting that, but I love to see it.
Yeah, back-to-back out in 17th. And of course, the Wildcats out in 16th, and now Stalwart out in 15th place. And we came in and we say, all right, it's so impressive to see them back-to-back 3rd place, but now they are going to have their bad game of the day. Maybe we'll see the next few games they're going to be having a combat. Let's see what Falcon is going to be able to do in this situation here. 7. They're putting a lot of pressure onto Damwon Kia.
Yeah, and with Damwon Kia, I'm intrigued. I mean, you also have Box Gaming that's currently of the horizon. I wonder if they're going to be able to push up on that. Falcon, it is currently spread out a good bit. It will be interesting to see if they are going to be willing to take this fight onto Damwon Kia with Falcon Yusuf just, I mean, 47 bullets in the Dream. I'm pretty sure he might be able to catch somebody off rotating. They just have to be careful, make sure that nobody sneaks up on them. And here we go, getting some shots, putting out his position. And is he going to be able to secure? Oh, he's not. And then we have TJB Esports EU getting eliminated as well. What's going on?
It's a wild game already. Damwon Kia putting some pressure on it. Now also,
he ended up backfiring. Remember I was telling you if it was going to backfire for Virtual Gaming Squad?
It did.
It did.
Yeah, it took too long time. They have to finish their fights fast. And now Falcon putting on some pressure onto Damwon Kia. Forest goes down. Let's see what Dama is going to be able to do here with the DP28. Only a level 1 helmet. So it takes much more damage and durability on it, though. Falcon under pressure from multiple sides. New circle has popped, and has gone northeast. When we were talking about it, Donut, they were potentially going to be able to have a massive game from this, and they have the center compound 7.
They do, and I'm intrigued to see what Team Soul's going to do right now. They're currently sitting in the middle of that field, or kind of close towards the mountain. I want to see if they're going to have to rotate or how they're going to set themselves up. If they have any vehicles also for cover, because I know in those areas, you don't have any vehicles, and this is what happens to Stalwart Esports. Oh, man, we wanted to see that consistency. Wow. It didn't end up happening.
Yeah, that's crazy. Regans are able to sweep and take control of the southern side of the circle, and they're continue to do so. Now Falcon's putting some pressure on to Damwon. Takes down Song, amazing.
The Mark, that's what you want to see at a Team Falcon.
So
Don't
impressive.
be scared. Take those shots, Martin.
So impressive. Now Box also trying to get in, and the eastern side is going to get more and more occupied with both Falcon and Box. As you see here on screen, powerful, putting more pressure onto Box, trying to push them away from their edge, making sure that they have the control.
That Box Gaming pushing up to the rock just in time. I mean, Yusuf right now, he wants some elims. He wants those points.
Falcon still in this situation, putting on pressure for this.
Yusuf, I mean, Team Falcon, they went from probably ended up getting some great amount of limbs to now just backing off a little bit, playing it safe, and kind of like to see it. And then when they see the opportunity, they go for it. This is what you want to see out of Team Falcon. I mean, Yusuf being able to get those knocks, can they confirm that ilm? That's going to be the big question mark. You can see them trying to rotate. Box Gaming now is starting to get pushed from behind by RSG. I'm not sure, Avenger here, who is going to come out on top. I mean, Box Gaming, I'm actually surprised that they're still alive.
Yeah, they are under so much pressure from Falcon right now, and they continue to survive. On Reckons also continuing into that. And it's kind of helping that they're in this dip here, because now that means that Reckons is also putting pressure onto Falcons. They want all of it. Reckons really taking control on the eastern side from the south.
And guess what? It's helping out Team Falcon right now, because they're going to have to, at some point, they're going to have to just give up this fight. You're going to have a disadvantage too. And there's so much more stuff going on right now with other teams that they need to be careful. You don't want to focus too much right now on RSG. If you can somehow rotate and get actually inside the circle, you have to do it. But wow, those shots, I mean, as I'm saying that, Team Falcon just keeps proving me wrong. They're able to get those shots, they're able to get those ilms, and it's currently working for them.
Yeah, all right, let's see what Falcons could do here. They are moving a bit around. They're trying to get out of this, but Reagan's just putting on some pressure on them, but they're losing out as well. Means that Reagan's is probably going to go out soon. Vivo keyed out in 8th place here with just 1 elimination. Falcon able to survive this is a mystery to me, 7.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out wonders for them, right? They were able to hit those shots. That's pretty much what it came down to, and they were able to become aggressive when they needed to be. They saw some knocks, they went for it, but this is, I feel like this is maybe when they needed to just try to move on from that fight, try to see what's going on over that hill, and try to locate themselves. Where are you going to go after this, right? What is your next move?
Exactly. They want to make sure of Reckons are getting out here. Vampire take control of this shack here, super important for them. We have 4 rivals in the distance there, moving across the field. Shots are coming onto them. That's a knock as well. Super well played by Schweppes. Nice shots coming in. And also, without us seeing, Galaxy being able to take some of the bunkers area. That is just so important for them. Now Freak putting on some pressure onto the Vampire Esports guys.
And at this point, if you do have any grenades, Enigma Galaxy, please start throwing them. You know exactly where he's going to be at. You know he can't move out of there. Vampire Esports is a team that you don't want lingering behind you, because they're just going to come and strike. And this is what I'm talking about. Let those grenades roll, and the shots too.
Super well played by Freak and Enigma Galaxy. This rotation, this macro call to get into the bunker. They saw potentially open. All they did a blind rotate. Then they got in and took control of it. 4 guys alive, and they're now trying to make sure that they can close this game out after a rough day 1 here. But game 4 is looking really good for them.
Vampire Esports is able to pick up that player. They are able to recover a little bit. Are they going to be able to get those seals? And then, as I was mentioning, Enigma Galaxy still needs to be careful with them. That is a very strong team, as you can see right now. Even though they might be pinned, Vampire Esports players are trying to get those ilms so they can move forward.
Ralph has an idea that Ravenclaw is there. Oh, nice! This is crazy good utility usage here for 4 rivals. Let's see if they're able to close some of it out. A lot of damage is being put out. Another one is found. Oh, it's actually finished off. Lappy is being ticked up on stone though now, and he's being finished off too with another elimination for Vampire Esports. USG coming out of the barns. They're putting on pressure from the north side. Falcon still alive on the east.
And guess what? Vampire Esports says, you guys decided not to eliminate us. Well, guess what? Now it's time that we put that pressure on them. And Donuts, USG, helped them out big time, too. This is what happened with Enigma Galaxy. I was hoping they would finish off that fight early. It didn't happen. And now we do have Team Falcon. Hopefully they can start picking some people off from here.
Oh, that's a headshot straight to the level 3 helmet. Donuts are not taking anything off it. Missile sends bullets raining his way. And that's going to be a really rough situation for Falcons, trying to get the revive off, but the pressure from multiple sides are coming off. Reckon still trying to sneak in, but the circle shifted north 7 straight onto Donuts and Enigma Galaxy.
And with all these teams distracted by Team Falcon, this is actually going to work wonders for Regan's Gaming. You can see them just little by little crawling, but hey, it's going to work out for you. And right now, you're going to see, 3 players from Vampire Esports. You do have 1 player from 4 rivals just laying down and playing patiently. This is going to be absolute madness. And that's to say that Regan's, no, RSG player gets eliminated. He was spotted.
Yeah, that's Regan's out in 9th or 6th, and with 9 eliminations, that's great for them. But Donuts, only team with 4 alive. They're probably going to be able to put a lot of pressure on the rest, and then they'll see if Vampire and Enigma, they're able to withstand this pressure, or what's going to happen here. Falcons, 10 eliminations in 5th place here. Such an honorable placement for them with the amount of points they're going to be able to get out of this one.
Yeah, I would say that was actually a great game for them, with considering how many fights they got on.
And also the terrain they came from.
Yes, and they did have to end up rotating a little bit left. I mean, a little bit late here on this final circle, which kind of hindered them. But for them to be able to get at least those 10 kills is going to be wonders. And then we have Donuts. I think this might actually work out wonders for Donuts. I think that might be my favorite.
Oh,
but Vampire.
Farm Rivals as well coming in. Stone takes down Amodia. That's actually Enigma Galaxy out. They were in the middle. They got sandwiched completely in this situation. And this is such a good thing for Donuts now. Missile gone down. Oh, no. Rivals gone out too. We're just down to Donuts, and it looks like a Donut game, this one.
We were talking about it before this game actually started. Well, guess what? It's bound to happen. Vampires, though. Vampire Esports, I am so impressed with the way they have been able to work out this final circle, the way they were able to put some extra pressure on Enigma Galaxy, even when they had some of their players down. This is great stuff, and if they can get another chicken dinner on Erangel, oh, man, that's going to secure a big spot for them at the top.
All right, they're trading revives in this situation. Want to get everyone up top again. And the question is, how is it going to end up? Looking violently out. The circle actually went away from both teams here in 7 in this situation. Donuts has to come in from the northern side, try to use some of the utilities, use some of the smokes to try to get in. Vampire has a little bit more of the terrain, but Naoto has some cover. Let's see how much they have to work with. There's also a crate inside the circle, so that could be worked as hard cover instead of the soft cover that smokes provide.
It will be, and even though they are throwing up those smokes, right? They're sending up the smoke line. I do like Naoto is currently going to have a little bit of a higher ground advantage over some of these players, so he might be able to spot something if he just jumps and sees them rotating. And as we say that, Ravenclaw being able to get the knock. If you're going to push, this is the time, and he is going to do that. He's going to try to just get cover behind that crate that you were mentioning, and now it becomes down to who is snaking on their path and who's going to be able to get the next knock. Vampire, though, so aggressive. Look at them. They're not wasting any time. They know they currently have the advantage in regards to one of the players was knocked, but then it backfires. One of the Molotovs from Naoto, one of the players I was telling you, being able to get the angle. What's going on here, Vampire? You guys had it going for you.
Yeah, the opening knock was important, but they're putting a lot of pressure onto them and just making sure they stay back there. Oh, it's going to be good for Donuts. They're going to go in and they're going to get it. It's a game for Donuts. USG, what a great one. But Vampire able to get another great game here on Erangel 7.
Yeah. They didn't get the win, but that sends a statement to me. That sends a statement in regards to being able to keep their composure. And for Donuts, too, they did get the chicken dinner, and the composure that they were able to hold off there at the end. I think Naoto being able to get that top angle, being able to have that height advantage, I felt like that was a big-time play for that player.
Yeah, and Donuts being able to get out of the compound. They're playing like they are planning to. They want to stay 4 guys alive. They want to get into the circle slowly and obviously close it out. And you can see here, that 4-player advantage versus being only versus 3 players, that's huge. That is what won them the game. Vampire had the upper hand, but Donuts is able to close it out.
And one of the teams that is going to be saying what could have been is going to be Enigma Galaxy.
Yeah.
They had the perfect spot, and then everybody just ended up crashing onto them. And it was just too much for them to handle. They took too long, I feel like, the fight with Vampire Esports. They should have been able to hurry that up a little bit more. If they had more utilities, I think that was the time to use it. They didn't, or maybe they just ended up running out, and Vampire Esports was able to take full advantage of when the other team started third party.
I love what I'm seeing from them compared to what we've seen from the first 3 games,
Yeah.
though. Them being able to put themselves into a center location in the circle, putting pressure on the rest of the teams, that's much better than we've seen from the first 3 games. And if they can continue that and maybe potentially clear an angle, they could potentially close out games in the future. But, guys, that is it from our first game here. We have 2 more games. We're going to go to a short break, and we're going to be right back with the desk, who's going to break down this game further.
عايز تترجم راب؟ تعالى لي. ملوك الصين دي انا ملخصها في سطور، بس مين يقرا؟ فاهم؟ كلام الشارع ده انا هرش كل المجال حبايبي. بروز.
وانا كاكازوكو مصدع القي نظرة لو على الحلاوة عندي كاستر والاسم
عفرت يا عفرت، هتفضل معفرتها ولا ايه يا برو؟
انت مين يا هو ازاي ده دخل هنا يا جدعان؟
نكسر الدنيا الاول وبعدين نتكلم، نعيد من الاول.
لا 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 مش مسجل.
اخواتي
عشان فاهمين السين، سبوتيفاي عمل لك بلاي ليست الاقوى راب مصري، اسمع ملوك السين ببلاش.
Well, Donuts USG take home the victory, but what impresses us the most is Vampire, the team that we had questions about after the first match of, was that just a one-off and done, or is this Thailand here to play? And well, we got our answer here in match, or well, the second Erangel, I should say. I'm just Kaplan, still your host, haven't been kicked off just yet. Maybe we'll switch things around. Maybe Maxman here, who to my left, might be hosting here at some point.
Nah, I don't. I politely refuse, Jason. I am not interested in your role.
Very nice of you.
Yeah.
He doesn't get a choice. It doesn't matter. I don't care if he's refusing. I get to choose if he's going to host.
You were staring me down.
I refuse to let him host. And we have, of course, Kalaris on the end as well. But, gentlemen, as you take a look at the match standings by STC, that was a ridiculous game, yet again, out of Vampire.
I mean, Vampire, the thing is, right, they get himself, sure, that first good game, a little bit of invisibility. They're coming back up really strong once again. And their rotation, especially, like, we talked about their rotation around the northern side of that hill where Team Soul stayed for the longest time. Like, the timing on that was key for them to get in those trenches. And then the way they just spread out against Donuts, I did not expect that to happen, but it was just spectacular.
You're talking about Pachinki South Road, right? Between the two kind of hill ranges that kind of create that little valley, right? And normally, that little valley that they entered into that area from and then moved into the west side of those fields, normally that is a death sentence almost. Like, it's very difficult to actually make that happen, but it's like hiding in plain sight. They knew a lot of the teams on those hills, not above them, were preoccupied with other teams that were on the hills as well. So have a little cheeky sneak on through there, get in those fields, use some smokes to move up to the dips that are all important. We'll talk about those dips in a moment because I thought that guaranteed the teams were there were going to be able to take the victory. And eventually one of them did. But yeah, Vampire converting 25 points after already an insane day to start things off. That's huge for them and Thailand.
And the thing I want to say for this match in particular is there were so many things that were great to see. Now you're like, oh, Jason, that's such a vague thing. First of all, we got to see VGS change their drop location, right? They moved away from box. They went to Ferry Pier. They still had a team to contend with there. We saw RSG have finally some sort of resurgence out of the team that we have yet to see, able to put up some good numbers with 9 eliminations. We saw Nick Galaxy as well finally show up here in this match. I feel like this really opened our eyes to like what potential, or maybe opening the eyes to the audience of what we've been saying about some of these teams and the potential they have here in this event.
I mean, that's what's going to happen when you have a second iteration of each map, right? This is the second angle. Teams could have that adaptation a little bit more, and they did change, especially like for VGS. You asked for them to change exactly exactly where they went, right, Kalaris,
Yeah,
to that very peer position of big split. They did chase down Vampire a little bit too long, but at least they didn't, like, go out in the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, so the Ferry Pier split was a decent choice. As you say, that fight, or that kind of, as you say, that chase went on a little bit too long. I do think they're a bit nervous about how they're approaching the game right now. That's just me kind of watching how they're moving around,
VGS, right?
VGS, yes. And I think that with their Ferry Pier drop, it's a decent spot, but I had to question how much potential loot they had because there was kind of that chase around against vampires going on for a little bit longer than should have been happening, and then they had to transition north early as well to get themselves a bit more of a center spot. So I'd have loved to have seen their exact loot in those moments, but, you know, we can't look at every single thing.
Not yet, but maybe soon. Speaking of central spots, though, what about Team Seoul? They got themselves set up very nicely.
It's touchy, you know.
Okay. Oh, you know what I'm talking about?
No, we can talk about it. When they went for like those dip positions, the shed too, right? It was a good play. Like they had multiple options. You can stay on the hilltop, keep that position, or you can go central and try and aim for that chicken dinner. Which, in that case, that was what Team Seoul were trying to achieve. Which no issue with that. I still do think, and you agree with me, Kalaris, on this point. Like we did think that Nigma Galaxy should not have been allowed to get to that point, to that position, that easily. It should have been punished severely by Seoul, and it seemed like the setup took maybe a little bit too long to really have the impact on Nigma.
Yeah, Nigma Galaxy's move was referenced in the cast, and it's something that's astutely pointed out, the fact that they were able to take that away from them. As soon as I see this circle fall on these fields, there's two dips that kind of create this opportunity for people to sit in and kind of survive. Seoul had one of them, and Donuts USG had the other. When I see this kind of circle, I think one of those two teams is going to win. However, Nigma Galaxy crashing onto Seoul and absolutely smashing their position completely stole that away from Seoul. I do have to question how strong Seoul is coming in, not being able to hold that dip when a team's crashing in like that, because they should have been able to put up more of a fight, I feel.
Yeah, and you can see that by the damage here right now, comparing it to Nigma Galaxy. Team Seoul, 367 damage, definitely not as much damage you would expect when you are a team trying to force other squads away from that spot. And then Nigma take exactly that position, and they step up when it comes to damage. Like, they are trying to do and make sure that they can force teams away in some way.
There's so much to talk about regarding those two dips. In terms of, like, when you use utility, the symbiotic relationship of those two dips, holding out other teams to make sure that they're not going to be approaching and things like that. And when it came to the very ending moments of Donuts USG actually winning that out, I was a little bit concerned from them because I don't think they had much utility left.
One molly.
To go up against Vampire. And we saw how strong Vampire was doing so well down in that kind of southwest dip compared to them. So, but they did win it out. Good for them, but I was concerned.
And you see how impactful, like, the threat of a potential, a nade or molly is actually at the end game there, because really, when you look at Vampire, they were all pinched in that small little position around the circle, and Donuts had the advantage. The fact that there were no nades, Vampire, like, no nades are coming, we're just going to spread. You have those angles, and you're looking at Ravenclaw in particular. That could have been a complete 180, and it could have been Ravenclaw's win for the team.
And I'm sorry, Jason, I really love talking about these dips. The thing is, as well, is when you're Donuts USG, when you're looking down, no. When you're them and you're using utility in the late game, but not the late game, and actually displacing one of the teams, and you've used all your grenades and your mollies to try and get rid of them, you can't then crest the dip and go over to actually go and get your opponent's utility, because if you do that, you're going to be shot at by other teams. So you have to be very careful about when you use your grenades and mollies to displace the opposite team on the other side, because you're not going to have any more to work with. You can't go and loot those loot boxes.
So I have a question for you, Kalaris. When are you going to get into coaching?
I like talking too much, and I would probably talk their ears off, and they'd be like, can you get out of the room, please?
Yeah, but then you could do the media days.
I don't want to do the media days. What are you talking about?
He can play the basketball.
He can do the media days. I'm rubbish at basketball. I told you I'm like 3 foot tall.
Yeah, but that's why you got a little loop.
That's why.
No way.
Hey,
stop talking to me.
We found one hoop that you can dunk on, okay? Let's take a look at the round report, though, from our 4th match of the day. Remember, we still have 2 yet to come, though, and see, again, who was our top damage dealer was. It's just going to be, Mike.
Mike Wazowski. I don't know. I don't know why I went with that.
That is definitely the PG version. I thought of something different.
Oh, no, not at all. No, but you know what? I'm impressed. Like, this is not a team that I had on my radar when it comes to the PMWI, and really the first game already, as you said earlier in the agreement, right, Kalaris, this potentially was the biggest opening game we have seen in PUBG Mobile in like maybe forever. We'll have to check that, and they can keep the momentum a little bit to some extent, getting themselves almost a second chicken dinner in 4 games alone. That is like so far almost never seen in like this level of play, and if they can keep it up, like it's going to be really hard to close that gap, even for teams like Star Wars or Falcons that are relatively consistent here.
No, indeed. I mean, actually, when you look at Mike, for astute watchers as well, he's actually not playing under that name in-game. He's playing under the name Stoned E with an I at the end of it. But the thing is that, yeah, the performance that he's actually putting up in these games is a little bit unheard of, actually, in a first day on an international tournament quite like this. I did not expect them to come in blasting like they are, but they're really controlling their areas very well. They're transitioning very well, playing as a cohort very well. I'm excited to see them play out more games. I really am.
I mean, you think about Corpai, right? He's there.
Yeah, exactly. You think back to Power AAA KPS, we ended up seeing that team like qualify on the final day quite consistently when it came to PMGC, but we know how strong Thailand can be. And I just wanted to show actually our top damages when it came to this match. And I want to point out one team in particular yet again, besides Vampire, which we talked about a ton, besides RSG, Falcon again. Falcons are playing so well, and I can actually hear from our grid room the audience just cheering and shouting whenever they're getting more and more eliminations. They are really putting themselves on the map here.
We were talking about this so much with Kalaris in the green room. Like, their edge play on the East is so good. Like, any team would get remotely close, you're dead. You're done. There's no way you're going to be escaping that situation. So Falcons, if there's a fight coming their way, they capitalize on it. And the fights are, just like we saw from Vampire, they're really quick. Like, they're very snappy, and they don't lose players. And that's why you see them get that amount of eliminations in the mid-game super quickly.
Yeah, between, I would say, Falcons and Stalwart in terms of edge play right now as they're approaching circles and holding other teams out, they're up there. They are very much so showing some great quality on those edge plays. And the thing is right now is that actually some of these circles are very edge heavy. Not a lot of people are wanting to go into the middle of these fields. If you don't have those 2 dips in the middle, where else do you go? The edge is the only place you can play. And if you're taking the eliminations there, it's very, very profitable.
Okay. Well, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we are actually, you can see, about 2 minutes away until we are going to be getting underway with our next match of the day, which, of course, will be on Miramar. We're going to actually bring in our new commentators in just a second. And by new, I mean, well, it's the same commentators before, but they're just so good. They're so new. We can once again mention really quickly a big shout out here to MasterCard and Razer here, helping support this event, making sure PMWI and G8 do happen. And, of course, with Miramar to come up next, we got to see some consistency out of some teams when it came to Erangel #1 and Erangel #2. Now I'm hoping to see some consistency when it comes out of TJB on Miramar, considering we saw them take their victory as well. But once again, for you guys at home, all the things you can do to win some prizes, make sure you update your profile pictures, whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, whatever, to the team that you're supporting, and make sure you guys are leaving comments on the official platforms to get a chance to win some sweet rewards, and use that hashtag PMWI. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take you underway here with our 5th match of the day. We got Avenger. I'm just going to get out of here and 7 Worlds Gaming.
It's okay. I call him that before, too. Okay, we were literally just having that conversation. But, man, what a match that we just had. And we saw Vampire Esports perform well back-to-back now in Erangels. And now going into this Miramar, right, I want to see, as Jason was saying, TJB. Can you also perform well back-to-back on 2 maps?
Yeah, that would be crazy to see. I would love to see it. Obviously, the consistency on maps usually follows. We saw with Stalwart that they were able to obviously have across all maps so far. But obviously, we want to see, is this their home map or was this a one-time thing? Obviously, their circle was perfect. We saw the overlook compound that they're able to push out of. And also, in general, in the Ladaria area, it's having the high ground is just so damn strong. And obviously getting started soon. I love this arena, though, I gotta say, 7. It is amazing. Also, our augmented reality team flying us in here on over the Miramar. Actually, my favorite map, because this is where, this is where the teams that have their macro on point, that's where they shine. They know how to get to the high ground positions. They know how to scout. They know how to get into these fantastic situations where they can get a lot of eliminations.
Okay, I respect that. I respect that. You already know me. You already know I like madness, so it wouldn't be a surprise to you that I'm going to say Sandhawk is my favorite match.
Course, yeah.
But what I am going to be looking at here is what's going to happen in Picado. I mean, in the first Miramar that we got a chance to play, it was Team Seoul lost 3 players in Picado to Box Gaming. I want to see if they're going to be able to adjust to that. We saw what Team Seoul was able to do in that previous match in Erangel. They were able to get a lot of the just major center stuff, but how they're going to start.
For sure. I want to see what this plane path gives us, though. We are going all the way south of Los Lunes, all the way up to the north side, close to La Carroria. And this opens up so many things. The vast majority of our teams here, they're going to be able to get into their usual drops or at least get a car and move in there. So let's see if we're going to see any hot drops, if we're going to see any contests, or potentially any gatekeeps. And obviously, the first circle, where do we go? Already early, Damonkey out. They're going to maintain a lot of control on the southwest side. Let's see how much they're going to be having. Highest damage so far. Not a surprise considering that they have had such a good performance in the first couple of games here. Vampire, quite impressive. Longest elimination here. That's where the change of the talk happens here. 375 meters and 373 meters. That is really damn close. And 2 players on top of the knockouts as well. Ravenclaw and Wave, of course, looking really sharp there. And the Nadelims, that's all Vampire here, 7.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see that. I mean, with currently the way they're performing, as we're seeing the map right there, doesn't look to me like Team Seoul wanted to go Picado again with Box Gaming. And that's a smart thing, okay? You want to be able to get all those points. For everybody currently watching at home, let's watch PMWI together. Complete daily missions to earn points. Once enough points are accumulated, tap on the rewards icon to claim the corresponding rewards.
Yeah, and participate in the event solo or team up with other players, both is okay. Team up could get the reward more easy if you're able to win some of those games here. But let's take a look at this game here and how the circle is going to play out. I want to point out, though, Box is obviously, they're not going to get contested again.
Yep.
Because in the Picado arena, there's a boxing arena, and Box is obviously the best at boxing. So let's be completely obvious about that. It's a northeastern circle, 7, though, and that's a really interesting one because we have a lot of open areas. We have a lot of high ground areas. So I'm really curious to see how these teams, they're going to make their way. And there's a lot of teams outside the circle on our western side, south and north. So a lot of teams and a lot of pressure is going to be happening coming in from the southwest side of the circle here. So if the clever teams, and this is where I really love it, if the clever teams are really clever, they're going to take their long rotations on the southeast side or on the northeast side and try to get in on the northeastern side of the circle here because the vast majority of the teams are on the southwest side of this current circle.
And talking about clever teams, I want to see what kind of rotation Dan1 Kia is going to end up doing here as they are currently looting in Valle del Mar. They're going to have so many options, right? And something that they got to keep in mind if we go back to the first Miramar that we saw, a lot of these teams were playing that edge circle. And it was, I mean, it wasn't even close. Everybody was pretty much on the edge. So if you wait too long to try to get into that circle, that rotation is going to be super, super hard to get in.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the really interesting one here. That's why I love Miramar, because we're going to be seeing that. Here, back-to-back, your hometown boys looting in Montenegro by themselves, not inside the circle currently, but they're going to have a really easy way in. They could go all the way to San Martin, my hometown, if they want to get an easy way in. The question is, does Stalwart stay? Does Falcon stay? Or do they try to take some of these more prevalent good compounds that we know that is close to the Hacienda area?
You say easy rotation for back-to-back, and I know the viewers currently can't see this, but if for some reason they take a little bit too long, Enigma Galaxy could kind of cut them off, and then it goes from that easy rotation to absolute madness because they're also going to have to worry about the other team that's currently below that with Adrian and Vampire. I mean, that's a team that right now, with the way they're performing, I don't want to run into them. I'm pretty sure back-to-back definitely doesn't want to run into them.
And I think that's definitely something we're going to be seeing further into the tournament is we're going to see once we've done with day number 1 here, the teams are going to go back. They're going to look at all these rotations. They're going to look at all these plays. And they're going to be like, all right, these teams are actually making the same rotations. So we could potentially gatekeep them or camp their rotations.
Yeah, and you were talking about all the area that's up in that's just open on the top east.
Yeah.
4 rivals right now taking full advantage of that, and now we're finally getting into a fight here. RSG against more of a team that didn't really perform that well in the first 2 matches. Miramar being one of them, and they end up losing Francie with their teammates nowhere to be seen. That's a good pickup right there for RSG.
Yeah, Regans again with these early fights here, they're really taking advantage of that. lightning fast in that situation, and they're being able to close this one out. They are not inside the circle currently. They are just south of the circle in the southern side, close to Los Leones or inside Los Leones. Now TJB, let's see what they're able to do. If they're able to have a crazy one for this situation. Obviously the high ground compound was fantastic for them, but right now they're far away. Box also in a rotation, currently going closer. They are quite center already, and potentially going to be able to take some compounds. And the crazy thing is, to me, is that obviously there's a lot of compounds available, but we are playing 18 Team 7. And throughout the games we've seen so far today, we're not seeing as many splits. We're not seeing as many greedy splits, these 2-2 splits and all these 1-1-2 splits, where all the teams are getting really greedy because there are just this more amount of players, more amount of teams that are going to contest your compounds. So we see a lot more teams play closely knitted together, making sure that they stay 4 guys alive towards the late game, because as we've seen in the vast majority of the game so far, the teams with 1 extra guy just continues to win these fights, because obviously if you're in a 2 versus 1, 3 versus 2, 4 versus 3, you have the upper hand by default.
Yeah, and I mean, you're saying that we just literally saw it in the final ending of that previous Aaron Guild. You saw Vampire, they did have 1 less player, and it kind of ended up hindering them. I feel like if Vampire would have had those 4 players, they would have definitely ended up winning that. And you do see TJB making sure that some of the players from Bgmi back off. They don't want to be anywhere near them. Actually, Vampire Esports backs off. Don't come near us. That's what they're trying to say right now. And you were talking about earlier of all the open area that's on the top east. I mean, 4 Rivals was able to take big advantage of Cruz del Valle. And then you have USG as well, El Hazard, just looting slowly, not having to worry about anything. And something that we're seeing completely different from the first Miramar is nobody's wanting to play this edge, okay? Everybody's wanting to go straight to the middle.
Yeah, exactly. We see Box, we see CJB right now. Some of the really high priority compounds here with the concrete building and the warehouse in the intersection. They're close southeast of Hacienda del Patron.
Ooh.
And Aton and Wildcats are in a fight. See what they're able to do.
We've seen what Boren can do, but now he's gonna have to be careful, because it looks like Bruno from Aton Esports is wanting to take this fight. He is gonna have Ray 77 with him to back him up. Can Bruno release the screen and at least get some damage and knock him? He is able to get that knock. Bruno coming up big. Insy's going to be able to confirm that too. He's got to watch out for the other player. And guess what? Some of the other players from the other team are also going to be able to push up. Wildcats being able to try to get that angle. You can see Lux right there. And it is going to backfire. This is just going south right now for Aton Esports.
Lux pushing in, super aggressive, trying to get more control of this, trying to deny the rest, and it's happening. It's so well played by Wildcats. And Aton is out in 18th place. They do get 1 with them, 1 elimination and 1 point secured for them here.
You can see that Aton Esports ended up getting that knock. And then they were like, okay, we got the Ilum. They got a little bit too complacent. You got to be able to finish that, and you got to be ready, because you know that team is going to be coming. They don't want to lose. Nobody wants to lose players right now at this stage. And just go back and watch that battle. Okay, Aton Esports, you got to be able to learn all. Marv, Rocky right now trying to be sneaky. He knows that there's going to be a buggy right there. Oh, this is going to be an interesting fight between these 2 players.
He has information. Question is, can he hit it? Oh my god, that is on point. A lot of damage done. Now, let's see what they decide to do. Regans, he's going to, oh my god, that is so clever. Repositions the car, gets out. Morph could completely disengage from this fight. That's a good another nade. Let's see the next circle pop. It's coming up slowly here. This could be a huge one. We still have teams that are trying to get in from literally everywhere where we saw them drop.
And then you have Damwon Kia. I mean, I think they're still thinking of that previous Miramar. Everybody was just playing edge. They're playing it super, super slow. I don't blame them.
Oh.
And this is going to work out wonders for them.
That is going to work great.
Obviously, they don't know this, but they have so much space to rotate into. I'm hoping they don't decide to do one of those rotations you were talking about earlier. And guess what? RSG against Morph. Morph should have at least an angle towards the east of RSG, but those smoke grenades are just going to be able to favor them. I think Morph is going to end up losing Rocky.
That's unfortunate. They're going to go down 1 player more. They're going to be just 2 now. So they're going to be in a salvage mission to see if they can get more out of this game. RSG is going to get healed up fully. They're going to be completely fine as well. And they're going to be moving in for that too. Vampire could potentially hear Morph rotating. I love this circle here. We are going to go on the western side. We're closing up Cinder and Hacienda, and we've had some fantastic endings around that area because it becomes very urban once we get closer to San Martin and Hacienda. The question is, do we stay on the open field side on the east, or do we go urban on the west side here and maintain some of the high ground that we have south of the San Martin too? Now, Team Falcons have had a really good performance. The home turf heroes here. And let's see if they're going to be able to continue that.
Yeah,
Rivals.
they definitely want to be able to continue on that energy that we're able to put out earlier. So we are going to be looking at a replay here from
again.
RG.
Oh, yeah,
what happened? Rocky was able to get a knock, but I mean, DD being able to just back him up, he's going to end up getting the knock. And you see, Fajar, I thought he was going to maybe get the off angle, but
nope.
See, it seems like it ended up backfiring for him throwing that smoke.
Oh, that's a good amount of shots coming in, Yusuf, and you can hear the crowd go wild. Amazing, super well played by Team Falcons and Yusuf in this situation. They are able to close this one out. They're close to the water treatment, so they are also in a very, very good position and on the terrain. Now, Fall Rivals, Labby here on the high ground. Now, Damar's going to try to finish off, get the elimination points and secure that. And you can hear the crowd go wild, cheering for them. That is great. The first grenade elimination, Yusuf is able to close that one off. Yeah, Team Falcons able to step it up.
What a surprise, honestly. I did not expect that. I didn't really think this team was going to be doing that well, and I'm so happy that they are. As we do see Team Soul being able to get that player, Lappy, I think it was, from 4 Rivals. There you go. He was trying to get that angle. Guess what? He ended up backfiring. Team Soul was able to sneak up on him. And right now, Team Soul with 1 Ilum. You love to see it, and I want to see what Team Soul is going to end up doing. In the previous Erangel, you saw them being able to take that center of the circle. He ended up being a little bit too much for them. And right now, when I'm actually looking at circle, I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Stalwart Esports. They're pretty much smack down the middle, and that's a team that, you know, if they end up getting pushed, if they end up getting third party, that's with the talent and the skill that those players have, they can back it up. And they might end up getting a bunch of villains.
For sure, and rotations are coming in hard on the eastern side of the map too now. Falcon does see Soul in the distance. And cheering is coming on for Falcon in the arena. All right, circles closing in. As you can see on the map here, I was talking about on the eastern side, southeast, a lot of teams are going to be fighting for the same terrain here. If they don't get a shift in this situation here, 7, it's going to be really rough for them, and they're going to have to be doing big rotations. A lot of teams are already occupying some of the best compounds in the center too. Bucks, Falcon, Stalwart, Pivo, Keat, Stars, and TJB is sitting damn pretty right now. Let's see the next pop mall. Oh my God, it's going to go north here and close out on the Hacienda area, but we have a huge ridge that is in play, and the water treatment could potentially also be crashed, and the terrain that's going to be able to be taken from that is going to be good. Now, Virtual Gaming Squad putting on pressure onto Damokia. Oh, Fabian has to heal.
Damokia barely being able to get off that. And this is what ended up happening here with Team Falcon. I mean, beautiful. You can see those shots. Yusuf, you are just something else. He got the nade Ilum, and he also was able to put up those shots with the AKM. And I was going to say, you mentioned it too, that southeast and the east is just going to be absolute managed with all those teams trying to push it. And I know that everybody in the crowd was screaming Team Falcon, Team Falcon. I was actually screaming urban area. And it ended up working out wonders for us.
All right, yeah, especially here with this situation where they're going to be moving from the southeast. The circle did go slightly northwest, so the big rotations is basically the last time we're going to see those. They're going to be trying to go up on the northern side and try to take some of that terrain that could potentially be open on the northwest. The question is, are all of them going to be able to do so, or are they going to decide to do so? Donuts coming off the win here, Donuts USG. They are one of those teams that are looking like they need a big rotation.
And with them, oh man, I'm looking at this, the rotation that Dam1 Kia is currently doing. I wish they would have just stayed left, because right now they're about to run into just a wall of teams that are going to be fighting with each other. Vampire Esports see somebody from TJB. He's not going to be able to move, but guess what? Stone, being the smart player that he is, he's just destroying all those tires where that player's not going to be able to go anywhere. And here we go.
Wildcats?
What are you going to be able to do, Wildcats? We've seen what you guys can do before. I love hearing the crowd. I miss it. Here we go. RSG. Almost being able to knock somebody there from TJB, but TJB getting the angles too, and being able to finish off RSG. This is huge for TJB.
Massive game for them. Maybe they're going to be able to get the rest off as well on Zhao. Question is, how are they going to do so with Bucks staring down? They have a bit of a smoke. The utility is going to come out, and it's going to work out for them. Oh, Bucks in the Hacienda compound. Huge compound, plenty of loot, so if they need to refresh their vest or helmets, they're going to be fine to do so. Now, Wildcats, more rotations coming in. Damwon too. Are they going to drive straight into them? And the drive-by is going to happen. They are. Forrest took some damage. Oh, Fabian's going to go down now. X-Ray, what are you able to do here for the Wildcats?
And Wildcats, I mean, they have the players behind them too. They need to be careful. They were able to get that knock, and I think that was huge. Can he get the knock? He's not. He's actually going to get third party by USG. What's happening here? Damwon Kia, though, can they secure this? We know they love those DBS. This is the perfect time for him. It does not end up working out for him. Wildcats being able to come out on top and securing some great amount of ilims for them. Right now, for them, 7 ilims, Avenger.
Yeah, that's a rough situation for them. Having to fight outside the blue here. They just want, both of the teams wanted the rotation now. See in the minimap, it's a northern shift towards the water treatment. And that's going to be rough for the teams on the south. A lot of teams are on the south side of that big road there, 7. Let's see how they manage to get into the zone. Oh, that is Wildcats just simply in a rough situation. Yeah, and Juni, oh my God, also putting out the utility, securing that Damwon Kia. It's just mutual destruction, basically.
Yeah, the 4X from Wildcats. I think he waited a little bit too long trying to cook that grenade, and he forgot that he was playing in this zone. He ended up backfiring for him. And right now, guess what? We have another push. Enigma Galaxy. This is a team that we've currently been looking at for the past 2 matches. Are they going to be able to do anything? They're not. They're actually going to end up losing players, and they decide to back off. And with this new circle, I'm intrigued to see how back-to-back is going to be able to just get inside that circle. And on top of that, I mean, Star Wars Esports, they really haven't had to do much. We haven't seen them much, but guess what? I'm pretty sure they're going to set themselves up nicely for the final one.
Yeah, the teams that are looking good, really good right now is Falcon, it's Soul, his 4 rivals. Enigma Galaxy in a huge fight here with Vampire Esports, taking down Fluke. Let's see how many more he can get. Oh, it's going to be found. That is so unfortunate. Lord goes down, and that is Enigma Galaxy out in 16th. And now, the coming minutes here, we're going to see so many more teams falling because there's simply not enough terrain to accommodate all these teams.
Yeah, I mean, with the 18 teams that we have right now, I mean, not right now, but we start with, you're just seeing a completely different PUBG Mobile Esports than what we're used to. And I'm actually loving it. I'm loving all this kind of fights that we're getting here towards the end. And going back to Enigma Galaxy, I know they ended up losing there, but I did appreciate that that player tried to get that Elam. He was not expecting the other player to come in from that door, but hey, it happens, okay? It's Vampire Esports. You can't really be too harsh on yourself with the way Vampire Esports is playing right now.
All right, Donuts of this great game found some terrain inside the circle here. You can see on the minimap there inside on the northeast side. I have an idea that Virtual Gaming Squad is over there on the ridge that they have to push up on to once we see these next circles pop. Also a little bit live. You can see these players. Some are playing with 3 fingers, some are playing with 4. And most of them are playing with more than 2 for sure. See how it works out for Vivo Keat. Adrian on screen.
I was going to say, I'm not sure about that spot there for Star Wars Esports. I'm hoping that they do decide to go somewhere else because Vivo Kid is just currently zeroed in on them. And you can also see back-to-back just being on the horizon behind them too. This is going to be interesting what's happening to them because Vivo Kid is going to have to push at some point. They are outside that circle.
Yeah, the question is, do they drive past? Do they try to drive closer? Do they breach them? What's the situation with this? And now another situation with Box and Vampire Esports sharing. That's a nice shot from Stone straight into the helmet. It's going to save him. Now Juni is going to be trying to get into the circle. Let's see how deep he can go. He cannot go deeper than that. That is down 1 key out in 14th with 2 eliminations.
Yeah, that rotation from that 1 key and then backfiring for them. But Stone, being able to go from one team to another team, snapping on them, doesn't matter which gun he's using. And guess what? We talked about Vivo Key having to push in, and they decided to just, they didn't decide to drive by. They decided to just fully push into Star Wars Esports. And guess what? Back-to-back is going to be able to try to third party this here as we do see the fight ensuing. Star Wars Esports trying to back him up with some utilities. Grenades. Oh, action, please. Hit another one because that was almost on the money.
Yeah, it's almost like the director out there saying 1, 2, 3 action. Try to get some of that and put it on. That's a lot of damage being on to Cielo. And that is him out. That is Vivo Kid out in 13. 0 ilims, considering that their early positioning was actually really good.
Yep.
Stalwart's able to defend it. I'm sure that they could have been worked out better if they decided to go for the full crash, right? Rather than try to get little bit of an edge inside the circle in the middle and a little dip. It really doesn't work out that well for them. But now that also means that back-to-back, Stalwart, all these teams, they have to move across the street and try to get into some of these new compounds. All the terrain, there's a lot of open fields as well on the south side of Morph and Falcon here too.
And I was surprised there, J-Way actually decided to take a shot on this Stalwart Esports player. Why would you do that? They didn't even, I don't think they even knew you were there. Just focus on getting inside that circle. Don't focus on trying to get some cheeky kills because that's just not going to happen.
Virtual Gaming Squad. Let's see what you can do in this. Donuts are trying to get in, but Virtual Gaming Squad is putting pressure onto them. One shot. Putting out a lot of shots. Donuts is trying to sneak in on the northern side here, above Falcons. And Virtual Gaming Squad, they are putting so much pressure onto Donuts right now. They want them off this high ground here. They are not inside the next circle, but they're waiting for long enough. Maybe it's because the Virtual Gaming Squad wants this new area that Donuts has decided to take. Let's see what happens with them. Naoto goes down. Lin goes down to the play zone. And Schweppes finds action from Stalwart where they have to rotate. Missile, trying to survive for as long as they can. And now Virtual Gaming Squad, they had to leave. Yep. That means that Donuts, they're able to survive.
Yeah, with Virtual Gaming Squad, they were waiting to see what was going to happen there with Donuts. Well, guess what? After Donuts, they are going to have Team Falcon. And Team Falcon right now is on a tear. Even though they are currently just sitting quietly, they're making sure they back up everybody. You do see Team Soul back-to-back just decides to send it. J7 being able to push it. Is he going to be able to make it? He's not able to make it. You can see a shot being able to secure that element. And that is huge because if he would have made it in there, oh, man, he would have been able to get some angles and it would have backfired absolutely for Team Soul.
And let's see what this next circle happens with. All the teams are being pushed in. 52 inside the gas station. That is another player gone down. That is very unfortunate for back-to-back. They get 1 elim and only 12th place, so not a lot of points from them for this game here. Vampire is being breached, and they are under siege by Stalwart. Meanwhile, Box is also third-partying them on the edge here. That's a good amount of pressure. 52 also in the kill feed, as you see. Now Stoned. What can he do in this situation here? Fluke taking some damage. This is kind of clever by Stone here. Try to get out.
Talk about
and
the moves there from Stone. Being able to throw in the Molotov, make sure they back him up, getting some knocks too with the Molotov, and he's able to rotate and secure those elims. Huge play out of Vampire Esports. That's the fight that we've been wanting to see. And guess what? Box Gaming realizes, hey, this might be the time. If we're going to third party, let's third party right now. Box Gaming is starting to push the action.
Yeah, perfect time for them to box everyone in this house, the longhouse here. Stalwart trying to get out. Still a knock in there. Stone cannot confirm it. He's outside. Top is on the other side. He healed up. The circle does go south, and that means a mayhem on the northern side. Falcon even has to move. Morph have to move. This is going to be an open field ending.
Yeah, with TJB currently having a little bit of cover there, it's going to be interesting. Stalwart Esports is going to be able to outlast Vampire Esports, but guess what? Box Gaming, this is going to be interesting how Action is going to be able to hold them off. I'm pretty sure he has already used a lot of utilities earlier with the fight with Vampire Esports. Box Gaming playing him slowly and finding the angles, and he does. That's Woo being able to eliminate their Stalwart Esports. It's okay. 7 elims. Stalwart Esports is not at another third place that we're expecting out of you, but I respect the amount of points that you guys are being able to put up in regards to elims.
All right, look at that. Donuts with the revenge onto Virtual Gaming Squad. Basically another case of mutual destruction, and Virtual Gaming Squad just taken down as well. Donuts too, this is a rough situation for them. They had to get out of the north side, but they can't. They go down. TJB in this situation, healing off. He's actually inside the zone. 52 have to move. Box is on the southern side of this circle here. They actually have a lot of control. Could be a great game for Box.
It definitely can, and I think with the way right now Team Falcon set up, it could possibly be another top 3 finish for Team Falcon. They still have all the 4 players, and they're currently positioning themselves perfectly. I just want to make sure they don't end up getting knocked from any of the third parties. You can see TJB, even though he was healing, he decided to stand up a little bit more and just keep an eye on who might end up pushing him. Team Falcon needs to be careful with that. More trying to make the push. They're going to get aggressive, but Team Falcon is just on another level, being able to secure that elim and moving upwards and forwards. That right there might have just secured them at least a top 3.
And another great performance on Miramar for Falcons. I love what I'm seeing from this squad here. Yusuf finding Pharaoh, 52, in shambles right now. Question is, do they have enough utility, enough smoke to make this next one in here. TJB also a little bit of a nuisance for them. He's down here in this little hay bale shack, and they could potentially lose one player to it.
And I think it's been so long since the TJB player has actually done something that he might end up surprising the Team Falcon players. And yes, I noticed that too. Team Falcon, they saw Bgmi all the way on the other side, and they're taking shots. The aggressiveness of this teams, and right now 52 is, oh man, it's not looking good for you. Okay, you have two teams looking at you, and yeah, I don't think you're gonna be able to survive from that. But the TJB player, the one that's currently being able to survive, he might come into play later, unless Team Falcon knows that he's there. But I'm not sure, Avenger.
The question is, how much utility do they have? That's the decider of this one here. Now we see nades coming in. It is coming, a good nade. They're never alone from Falcon Esports finds him. That's TJB out. Another good performance from them now. But it means we're down to Bucks and Team Falcons.
And this is going to benefit, if Bgmi can get into the zone, is going to benefit him in a big way. You can see Team Falcon, though, it's not slowing down. They're making the push. They didn't know that TJB player was there. They limited in. They were like, you know what, we need to take that spot, and we need to take it out and keep on moving forward. You can see the 52 esports player, though, being able to get the angle on both of the teams. Oh, that's going to be huge.
Vaz, I counted him out, basically. I didn't think he was going to survive that, but the players are not focused in on him. They thought they're one of the other teams potentially to take him out, so Falcons slightly forgot about him. And let's see how far he can take this one for 52. 8 eliminations for them. He finds a box player, takes him down. Can he secure second place for 52?
52 esports currently just ruining the party for Bgmi. We thought it was just going to be a Bgmi versus Team Falcon versus. It's not going to happen. But guess what? Break from Bgmi. He has to give out his position, just trying to back him up. And Team Falcons right now, they're setting themselves up perfectly. Team Falcons currently looking to take this win, ladies and gentlemen. They know where that player from 52 esports is at. Can they take it? You see Yusef leading the charge. They know exactly where he's at. Here comes the grenades.
Finds one.
Oh, Vaz being able to actually back them up. Yusef right there. Can he get the knock? You're so close to it. You're full health, and he's not, ladies and gentlemen. Team Falcon being able to get the win for Saudi Arabia. Woo!
They're able to convert this one, step it up, and do an even better game on the second game of Miramar today. Here's 7. They got second place last time, 6 eliminations, and now they're able to take it home. Look at the crowd. They're going wild for their home turf heroes.
I'm about to go wild for them. I'm so happy this team is performing this way. We've been talking about Saudi Arabia for a long time, and guess what? Their team is currently showing up, and they don't just want to win this. They also want to make sure they qualify to that after-party event happening next week. Wow, what a win. The aggressiveness that we're just seeing out of this team, they're not slowing down. It doesn't matter who it is, they're just going for it.
Yeah, super impressive performance. Right now, the teams that are able to do well on Miramar before, they're able to step it back up. TJB again going into that. Box stepping it up and actually showing what they're capable of. Also, they were in that compound. They were in a situation where they were fighting so many teams.